Greetings, revolutionaries! In my session today, I'll be talking about crafting standards that drive internal and external excellence that we can look to deliver consistently across our entire organization. One of my all-time favorite quotes is from author Ron Zemke, and it's very relevant to our topic today. Ron reminds us that your customer is whoever benefits from the work you do, or conversely, whoever suffers when your work is done poorly or not at all. In this session, we are going to focus on a tool that we call the CEC, which stands for Customer Experience Cycle. Traditionally, a CEC is very focused on external customer interactions. What are the most impactful interactions we can have with those external customers, and how can we make them even better? For us at the DeJulius Group, it's a focus on commandment number 3, creating non-negotiable standards. In order to do this, we dissect those interactions and look at them in 4 buckets. What are the things that can go wrong or service defects? What are the things that we have to do in order to get the job done or operational standards? The third bucket is what are those things that we can do to build rapport, build relationships, and just make it a better experience, or our experiential standards. And number 4, where can we give autonomy to surprise and delight and go above and beyond? Let's look at a specific example to help further explain the process. For this example, we will use making a reservation at a hotel, and we will call it stage number 1. So, what are some of the defects that occur? We could be on hold for a while. The property may be sold out. Maybe they can't access the rewards information that I'm trying to use, or simply they don't have the price that I received on my last visit. Now, let's look at the operational column. Pretty simple. They need to get my name, they need to get all of the relevant booking information, and they need to get my payment. Now, let's move on to our experiential column. Here, we say touches such as smiling, or using the customer's name 2 or 3 times, or asking the question, is there anything else I can help you with today? Which is such an impactful way to end any service interaction. Finally, our 4th column, listing our above and beyond opportunities at this particular stage. Here we have a room upgrade or updating personal information that we learned about that customer during that conversation. Now, one important point I want to make here. When we are done with this process, the 2 center columns, operational standards and experiential standards, actually become 1 column, just standards. This is because it does not matter to our frontline team members if they are operational or experiential. They are just the standards that we need to execute every time. The reason that we need to have them as 2 separate columns when we are creating the tool is that most companies simply do not have enough experiential standards in place. And when we are going through the creation process, we need to make these our focus. Here are some of the primary benefits of going through this process and creating these standards for your external customers' experience. Through this process, we see company-wide buy-in, awareness of service defects, non-negotiable standards that reduce inconsistencies, emphasis on experiential opportunities, training manuals and standards, interdepartmental cohesion, and an improvement in our CX metrics. Maybe the CEC is best summed up in this quote from Joe Prokes at our partner at Al Sarah Auto Plaza in Michigan. Joe says, the CEC takes customer service to the next level, placing these standards into exact touch points of our normal process without having to reinvent the wheel. It allows for newly hired associates to be on the same page as senior associates, all having been trained on the same standards and expectations. Joe's so right, and at the end of the day, it's about giving our teams a tool so that they can deliver a great experience and do so consistently across shifts and across all locations. Now, I'd like to take the CEC in a different direction, focusing on internal handoffs and internal customers. Where in your organization do you have invisible service providers? Those that are not necessarily seen by the customer, but their actions are felt. These could be team members in a plant or on a production line, or the team that processes orders once the sale has taken place. Think about the invisible service providers that you have in your organization and ask, do they understand who their customers are and the impact they have on those customers? Most likely, the answer is no, and their own stage or two in the CEC could be helpful. Where do we have departmental handoffs or other internal interactions that could have an impact on our customer's experience? What cycle stages are happening behind the scenes while our frontline team members are interacting with our customers? Often, these handoffs can happen in a transition from sales to service. So many times you hear of over-promising and then under-delivering during this important but inconsistent handoff. Our partner, Image First, utilized the CEC to tackle this issue head-on. Instead of creating two separate stages, one for the sales team finishing their portion of the project and then the service team beginning their portion of the engagement, they created one stage where sales and service work together to onboard the new customer, ensuring a consistent onboarding process while minimizing the long list of service defects that existed previously. Similarly, our partners New Day USA, a mortgage lender specializing in Veterans Administration loans for members and veterans of the United States military, were sure to include internal interactions into account when they created their CEC, as we see here in red, as well as interactions with third parties that also have an impact on the customer experience, as we see here in green. Where in your organization do you have handoffs or invisible service providers that need to be a part of your CEC? I encourage you to take a look and make sure they are included in the process. If you'd like to learn more about the CEC tool and the many uses it has both internally and externally, be sure to join me for my complimentary webinar called How to Craft Standards That Drive Internal and External Excellence. Check out our app for more details and the link for registration, and we'll see you then.